I was named after the inspirational Malala Yousafzai, who is the Pashtun Joan of Arc.
My father only gave me the name Malala. He didn't make me Malala.
I lived in this country. I was born in this country called Pakistan, and I was born in Swat Valley.
When I was born, we were very poor. My father and a friend had founded their first school. We lived in a shabby shack of 2 rooms opposite the school. We had no bathroom or kitchen, and my mother cooked on a wood fire on the ground and washed our clothes at the tap in the school. While growing up, Malala noticed and complained about the differences between girls and boys, women and men. For instance, girls were expected to stay inside, cook and serve their brothers and fathers once they grew up. Boys, on the other hand, could go out around the town freely. Girls and women had to go out with a male relative regardless of their age. When women left their poorer quarters, they had to cover their faces and couldn't meet or talk to men who weren't close relatives. Some families sold their daughters for marriage. They honored killings. The use of girls to sow feuds between villages. Malala refused to cover her face, even as a teen. Her cousins were upset by this behavior and complained to her father. However, her father was more progressive and advised them to mind their own business. Indeed, Malala wrote her book. I had decided very early I would not be like that.
She was just telling me that, cover your face, men are looking at you. Whenever I used to go to the market with her, she used to tell me, cover your face, see that man is looking at you, that man is looking at you. I said, Mom, I'm also looking at them.
My father always said, Malala will be free as a bird. Her father also used to tell her, I will protect your freedom, Malala. Carry on with your dreams.
When I was in Swat, before the terrorism spread in Swat, I was going to school and I had a very heavy bag and with a lot of books. I was doing my homework on time and I also wanted to get first position in the class, get high marks, but I could not understand why it is important. Taliban came in 2004, but at that time they were quite good. They did not show the terrorism and they did not blast any school at that time. But they started the real terrorism in 2007.
I was 10 when the Taliban came to our valley. One day, Safi Muhammad proclaimed from jail that there should be no education for women. My friends and I couldn't understand why it was so wrong. Why don't they want girls to go to school? I asked my father. They are scared of the pen, he replied.
When I saw terrorists and some people, and they were speaking against education and especially against the education of girls, I realized at that time that this education, these books, these pens are something really important. And these terrorists are afraid of education and especially they're afraid of the power of women. They don't want women to be empowered and they don't want educated women. And that's why I realized that this book is very important. This is precious.
Every day it seems a new edit came. Fazullah closed beauty parlors and banned the shaving so there was no work for barbers.
Our freedom was taken from us, the women's freedom. We could not go to market, we were not allowed to go to school, we were just kept imprisoned. We were just limited to the 4 walls of our house. Women's rights were denied at that time.
When we arrived back at school after 8, we saw a letter tacked to the gate. Sir, the school you are running is Western and infidel. You teach girls and have a uniform that is un-Islamic. Stop this or you will be in trouble and your children will weep and cry for you. In 2007, many girls started to drop out school and Fazullah kept broadcasting that girls should stay at home and his men started blowing up schools.
They have blasted more than 400 schools in Swat. They have slaughtered people. And in the month of January 2009, they used to slaughter even 2-3 people every night. And they have flogged women. We have seen the barbaric situation of the 21st century. And we have seen the cruelty and we have seen harsh days in our life. And those we regarded as the darkest days of our life. Education went from being a right to being a crime. Girls were stopped from going to school.
In 2008, elders in SWAT created an assembly called the Kwame Kirga to challenge Fazullah, and Malala's father was chosen as spokesperson as he was not afraid to speak out.
When we say we started speaking about our rights, how did we? At that time, media needed someone to speak the truth. And when it is hard, when your life is at risk, you cannot speak. Because if anyone spoke, on the next day his body could be found in the green chalk being slaughtered.
Any organization which works for peace, I will join. If you want to resolve a dispute or come out from conflict, the very first thing is to speak the truth. If you have a headache and tell the doctor you have a stomachache, how can the doctor help? You must speak the truth. The truth will abolish fear. Malala heard these words coming out of her father's mouth. She also attended a lot of meetings with him and his fellow activists. When she went to jail, the largest news channel in Pakistan, they were looking to interview a small girl, but they were unable to find any due to fear. I have a father who isn't scared, who stands by me.
I have rights. I have the right of education. I have the right to play. I have the right to sing. I have the right to talk. I have the right to go to market. I have the right to speak up. What, really?
And this is how Malala began her activism.
And at that time, we said now it is the great opportunity for us that we tell people. We tell people all over the world that this is happening in Swat. And at that time, we spoke about our rights through media, in newspapers, in TV channels, that education is our basic right and we want peace in Swat.
In 2009, Abdul Hai Kakar, a BBC radio correspondent based in Peshawar, was looking for a female teacher or a schoolgirl to write a diary about life under the Taliban. He wanted to show how people were affected by the catastrophe in Swat. Malala accepted this assignment under the pseudonym Gul Makai. They kept in touch via phone, and she shared about her day, personal anecdotes or thoughts, and her dreams. The words were published on the BBC Urdu website once a week. Over time, the diary of Gul Makai began to garner attention. This helped Malala realize that the pen and the words that come from it can be much more powerful than machine guns, tanks, or helicopters. Following the actual ban on girls' education, Malala aired on numerous radio and TV channels.
When I looked at my people and my school fellows and in the ban on the girls' education and the Taliban, so I thought that I must stand up for my rights, the right of education, the right for peace.
After living as a refugee with her family in her own country outside Swat for approximately 3 months, Malala returned to her valley and was shocked by the signs of the battles between the army and the Taliban. On August 1st, 2009, the school bell rang again. However, there were signs that the Taliban never really left.
When in 2012 I was with my father and someone came and she told us that, have you seen on Google that if you search your name and the Taliban have threatened you? And I just could not believe it. I said, no, it's not true. And even after the threat, when we saw it, I was not worried about myself that much. I was worried about my father because we thought that the Taliban are not that much cruel that they would kill a child, because I was 14 at that time. But then later on, I started thinking about that, and I used to think that the Taliban would come and he would just kill me. But then I said, if he comes, what would you do, Malala? Then I would reply myself that, Malala, just take a shoe and hit him. But then I said, if you hit a Talib with your shoe, then there would be no difference between you and that Talib. You must not treat others that much with cruelty and that much harshly. You must fight others, but through peace and through dialogue and through education. Then I said, I'll tell him how important education is and that I even want education for your children as well. And I'll tell him, that's what I want to tell you, now do what you want. Usually, there are many people on that day, there were only 2 boys and they stopped our school bus.
जब हम वहाँ आए तो 2 लड़के आए, मैंने तो सिर्फ एक ही देखा था.
पीछे आया तो उन्होंने हमसे पूछा कि मलाला यूसुफज़ई कौन है.
He did not give me time to answer his question.
तो फिर उसने डायरेक्ट फायरिंग की और
He fired 3 bullets. 1 bullet hit me in the left side of my forehead, just above here, and it went down through my neck and into my shoulder, and it also affected my eardrum, so now I have problem in listening as well. It also cut down my facial nerve.
It was the 9th of October 2012.
They thought that the bullet would silence us, but they failed. And out of that silence came thousands of voices. The terrorists thought that they would change my aims and stop my ambitions, but nothing changed in my life except this. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born. They only can shoot a body, but they cannot shoot my dreams. And I think my dreams are living.
They asked Malala if she ever felt angry about what she experienced.
Not even as small as an atom, or maybe the nucleus of an atom, or maybe a proton, or maybe a quark.
Never angry.
Never.
As soon as Yousafzai realized what had happened, he drove the diner to Swati Central Hospital at top speed. When I was put in the ambulance, my father was afraid the Taliban would attack again. A helicopter transported her to the combined military hospital, to the intensive care unit. To keep it short, two British physicians, namely Dr. Jared Kayani and Dr. Fiona Reynolds, who were based in Birmingham's hospitals, arrived shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I woke up and I said, where am I? And then they say, it's Birmingham. I said, never heard that city's name before.
It was the 16th of October 2012.
Then the first thing I did was that I thanked Allah, I thanked God, because I was surviving, I was living. And I cannot explain it, how happy I was, how much happy. I cannot explain it, because I was very happy when I saw myself alive, and when I saw that I am living and I'm surviving. And then I was thinking about my father and my mother as well, and I could not speak at that time because there was a tube in my neck that was breathing for me. So I asked for a pen and a paper from the nurse, and I wrote to many doctors. I did it a lot of times, and I wrote to them, where is my father and my mother? And so they told me that your father is safe and he will come soon as possible. And the second question that was really important for me, and about which I was thinking, that who will pay for me, because I don't have money. And I also knew that my father is running a school, but the buildings of the schools are on rent, the home is on rent, and he cannot sell his school. And then I thought, okay, so your father has a land in a village, he can sell it. But I said, it's a very few amount of money. Then I was thinking he might be asking people for loan. I didn't cry because now I totally changed after that incident. But I don't know how did I change. I don't know what happened to me. I was feeling that this is a new life.
After being discharged from the hospital in January 2013, Malala relocated to live in an apartment in Birmingham with her family. She made the city her new home. Meanwhile, people from all over the world were wishing her a speedy recovery, and many of them were school children.
Thank you for the letters and cards that I still receive from all around the world. Your kind and encouraging words strengthens and inspires me.
The following part of Malala's episode will center on her advocacy for education.